What's up, fellas? Happy Friday.
Not too much. Not too much. Are you I was really excited before Soto got hurt, and there's kind of good news today that it's not an IL thing, but are you excited for the Yankees and the Dodgers series? I know Fox has the game tomorrow.
I mean, I'm thrilled, fellas. And look, there's a rematch of the 1981 World Series. And this series reminds me a lot of, the 1980s, 90s, even early 2000s, where it's star galore. You have everywhere you look, you have stars. And these two teams have done a fantastic job of consistency and continuity, something the game has lost over the last decade or so. But we know all the players from the Dodgers. We know all the players from the Yankees. The Dodgers come at you with 3 MVPs, 1, 2, 3, right out of the chute. And the Yankees have the best record in baseball, and their best pitcher, Garrett Cole, has not even thrown a pitch yet.
So is this a World Series preview, Alex, or do you still give Philadelphia a shot coming out of the NL?
I mean, you got to give the Phillies a shot just because, they have the great, former Yankee Rob Thompson as a manager. Obviously, they have Kevin Long, and they have a wonderful, wonderful team over there, and they have the best starting pitching in baseball. But if it was me, I would say the best 3 teams are playing this weekend here, and obviously the Phillies. And I think for baseball, it would be just an absolute grand slam if we can have a rematch of the 81 World Series.
All right, so you look at the month of May that Judge had, and when we worked together the last couple of years on the K-Rod show, you are a big Aaron Judge fan. Has he even superseded his greatness over the last month and a half?
He's something else. And look, it took him a minute to adjust, but adding a guy like Juan Soto to the lineup, it's a lot what Mark Teixeira used to do for me. And hitting between Teixeira and Matsui was just the gift that kept on giving. And you have so many favorable matchups. Pitchers have to diversify their thoughts, their energy between not just one superstar, but 2 of the biggest stars in our game. But yes, he keeps surprising me. He keeps getting better, and I think the best is still in front of him.
Now, how about Soto? Because, before he got hurt yesterday, Alex, he's having an MVP-type season. Has he exceeded what you thought he was?
Yeah, look, Soto is simply the best hitter in the game, and he's just, Michael, a perfect fit for New York City. He's a hybrid of, for me, Bernie Williams and Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. He has power. He's a world champion, eagle eye, great teammate. He hits good pitching. He hits in the clutch, and he's tailor-made for Yankee Stadium. And if you're the Yankees, you hope you win this year because this is the best shot they've had at winning a championship in 15 years. But even more importantly, you hope you can retain a talent like Juan Soto for the next decade.
So let's break that down. Scott Boras is his agent, so that suggests he wants to get paid. But can there be a conversation? Let's say he falls in love with New York, wants to stay with the Yankees. Can he go to Scott Boras and say, I want you to get me the most money, but I want it to be in New York? Or does he absolutely have to go to free agency?
It's interesting, Don. I was, Scott Boras was my client. My agent. I was his client. I was playing for the New York Yankees. I had an opt-out clause and became a free agent. Look, Juan Soto's 25 years old. There's no better place on the planet for him to play than in New York. And he's a proven winner. He's very likable. He can go to Scott Boras and say, look, I went to Scott Boras, Don, and say, I'm going to take less to stay in New York. You had 2 other teams that wanted to give me more years and more money. And I said, no way. I'd rather be a Yankee. I'd rather be a champion. And I think that's what Juan Soto should do. Or that's what I would be. That's what I did. I think he should do the same.
Now, Alex, though, younger Alex, when you became a free agent after the years with the Mariners, we know you loved the Mets growing up, but you went to where the most money was in Texas. And was that, you've got Scott Boras as an agent. You're going to take top dollar. The story is he wanted to double Kevin Garnett's contract, which is exactly double what your contract that you got was double Garnett. So who was driving the bus there? Did you have the ability as a younger man to tell Scott, I want to play for the Mets no matter what?
Yeah, it's interesting. Great question, Michael, because, to your point, I was a free agent at 24. And in many ways, I think Scott Boras drove the bus a little bit more, actually a lot more. I told him that I would take a massive haircut to come play for the New York Mets. They were my favorite team growing up. when I was 31, 32, the second time around, I drove the bus, and I said, Scott, I know there's more money somewhere else. I don't care about that. I want to be a Yankee. I want to be a champion, and I want to be remembered in pinstripes, and that's exactly what we did.
Now, the guy across town, Alex, might have the ability of all 30 owners to offer the most money. He'd still be in New York, but is there a cachet more to be with the Yankees than to be with a Met team that's really struggling this year and has been struggling for a while?
Look, I always say if you're dating a girl that you love and you want to marry her, don't let her become a free agent. And that's the same way I feel about Juan Soto. Do not let him become a free agent. Make your best offer now, early, and just put your best chips on the table. Because once you become a free agent and you let, owners like Steve Cohen, Dodgers, San Francisco, other teams that, the Cubs, even if they don't have a budget, Michael, a guy like Juan Soto, because he is generational, because he's a champion, because he hits 318 with possibly 50 home runs, when you don't have any team in baseball that's even hitting 260, well, if you prorate that when I played, Michael, that 318 is more prorated, more like 350 or 360.
Right.
So he's such a unique talent. He's left-handed. He's young. Sign him up and sign him now. Do not wait for this young man to be a free agent because Steve Cohen can outbid everybody.
Alex, I want to ask you for a second, just a personal question about the NBA playoffs this year. We go back to the baseball, but I'm so curious. What did it feel like losing that Game 5 when it was back in Minnesota? And at least for me, I'm thinking the Wolves are definitely going to force this thing to 6. It ended up being a pretty tough loss. How did that emotionally compare to a playoff loss, for example, when you were a player on the Yankees?
Oh, man, that's a great question, Peter. I think we just ran out of gas. And the year before we lost in the first round to Denver. We lost in 5 games. I think the North Star coming to this year was let's advance past the first round, and ultimately we have to beat the big brother, the Denver Nuggets. And when we were down 3-2, and then we won a big Game 6 in Minnesota, and we were down 20 on the road in Denver to the defending world champions, to the 3-time reigning MVP and Jokic, the Joker, and we were able to come back and win that game. In many ways, I think we left our juice right there, and we didn't have much left for Dallas. And then the Mavs just played an incredible series. They were a better team. And, sometimes losing the way we lose in Game 5, Peter, is not as difficult if it was like the way we lost Game 2, where, what's his name? Luka. I always confuse the two Jokers. Luka just hit us with a dagger, with a 3 in Rudy's face, and that was a painful one.
So is it? I remember I talked to Al Leiter about watching his son pitch and him pitching in a World Series. He said, "I'm in control." He said, "If I mess up, I mess up." But you feel more nervous watching your son. So you're one of the owners of this team. Is it more pressure packed to play in a World Series or to watch your team play for the NBA Finals?
Oh, there's no question. Anything that has to do with you watching and not have any control of the outcome is always more nervous. When I go watch my daughters in a play, I'm going to watch my daughter next week in a play in Michigan. That's always nerve-wracking because you just hope for the best and you can't control it. So, yeah, to go back to Peter, I think it's much tougher when you're watching and you don't have control over it.
All right, so just to the Soto situation, you've had injuries before, obviously. When you hear inflammation in his forearm, the Yankees are saying he did the MRI, just inflammation, they're going to give medicine. Does that worry you at all, Alex?
Well, anytime you have an injury to the hands or the forearms or the arms is obviously concerning, especially when you're a power hitter and you have so much torque. But the one nice thing, the Yankees have built a really nice cushion here, and they're playing great ball, and they have the opportunity to be very conservative. Remember, Soto played every game last year, 162. He's played every game this year, so he's a workhorse. That's another thing you pay for, is availability. And you hope that he gets it right. I would be extra conservative here and just make sure he's 100% when he comes back, because the goal here, and especially if Soto has the prospect of going somewhere else, this window may be a year of 1 year. This is your best chance to bring the championship back to the Bronx.
We were debating it earlier in the show, Alex, when we thought that maybe Soto could be out long term. How would that compare to when they lost Judge last year? It seemed like the team kind of folded up shop emotionally when they lost Judge. When something like that happens, is that because you lost a catalyst to a championship, or because you're so close to that player and he's your leader that losing him like that affected you more than the day in, day out X's and O's of it?
Yeah, I think in many ways in the past, they were just a lone ranger, right? I mean, a guy, you lose your best player, and there wasn't much there to pick up the pieces. I think with this team and this roster that has a lot more diversified, it has tremendous starting pitching. I think they can withstand, a week, 10 days, 3 days. I don't want to speculate on how long this injury is going to be, but I think they're going to be fine in the long run. Again, the key is not to rush them. The key is to have them very healthy, and Garrett Cole coming back down the stretch, because again, this might be, the last opportunity to have a legitimate shot to run the tables in October.
What am I supposed to do in London without you? I mean, you were my my blanket. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm leaving tomorrow. I got to do the game on Sunday.
Wait, what goes on? What went on those Sunday night games?
Well, we were very close. Alex would talk me through things.
Alex, you've been described a lot of different ways, positive and negative. Have you ever been described as a blanket?
No, I have not. Maybe a wet blanket. But not
Well, I'm going to have to survive without you. What can I say? Hey, we got to ask you this while we have you. What's the status of the Timberwolves ownership situation? Is it going to turn out okay for you and Mark Lowry?
Well, I hope so. Look, there's a very, complex situation. We love the NBA. We fall in love with Minneapolis. I kept all of you abreast with the excitement, the progression over the last, 3 years. We've gone in just 3 years from 3,000 season ticket sales to over 11,000. The business is doing great. We have 10 of our 15 players under the age of 25. We want to give back to the community. And look, Michael, I learned under the great George Steinbrenner, and he showed us the way, right? Is a new arena, new building, is the Yes Network that he built with Jerry Carnell and John Filippelli. And we hope to do a lot of the same things. If we have that opportunity and we can play the contract as is, we will be thrilled to be fiduciaries for this franchise for many decades to come.
Anthony Edwards, as good as he seems? I mean, he seems like a dream come true. He could be the face of the NBA.
I mean, we talk about Aaron Judge, right, and Juan Soto, and he's just in that very special, like those guys who have great personalities. This kid comes from humble beginnings in Georgia. He's as good as they come. He's only 22 years old, loves basketball, does not want to be an Instagram star. He just wants to be the best basketball player on the planet. He's a killer and a winner.
Good stuff. You'll be at the stadium tomorrow. You're not coming tonight, right?
Michael, I'll be there tomorrow, and I hear that me, Jeter, and Big Papi, and maybe even Kevin Burkhardt, we're taking BP around 1 o'clock on the field.
Wow. I mean, when's the last time you and Jeter swung a bat in anger?
August 12th, 2016, the day I retired. That was the last time.
Really?
Wow.
Not even for fun? Wow.
Well, I mean, Don, I have a bat in my office, and sometimes when negotiations go the wrong way, a bat can be helpful.
Yeah, but
and like Tom Cruise, I do my best thinking with the bat in my hand.
If you noticed on K-Rod, Don, he always would swing a bat, and he would give bat, but you have not swung at a pitch ball in a long time.
Well, Michael, I see how mean you are sometimes to Peter and Don. So, sometimes I have to back them up, and I have a bat just to be there enforcer.
Thank you. We could really use that.
And I got to tell you, you were just talking about watching your daughters. My son played a playoff game last night, and I watched that like I watched a Giants Super Bowl. I couldn't take it.
Right.
If given the opportunity, I might have looked away. Thank God. I'll send you the video if you want to break it down.
Send Alex that. He has to see that base.
Yeah, that was so. I've accomplished a lot in my career. I don't think I was ever happier than I was last night when he hit that bomb.
Don, that's awesome. Congrats. Michael, since you're the host here, am I allowed to ask Don one hockey question?
Oh, you can ask whatever you want, Alex. Take over. You're the blanket.
Thank you. And I'll get out of your way because I know it's a big Friday. So Don, here's my question. My great friend, Vinny Viola, and great mentor, owns the Florida Panthers.
Okay.
A, do they have a good team? And B, do they have a real shot to win a title?
Well, they've got the best team, and they've got an incredible shot to win. I got to call 4 of the Ranger-Panther games. They were all close, but the better team won. They're big. They're physical. They match up well with anybody. They've got a Hall of Fame goaltender, and they are exceptionally well coached.
Wow.
Paul Maurice is one of the best coaches in the league, and Bill Zito is a tremendous general manager. I think the Florida Panthers are winning the Stanley Cup. So tell your owner he's in really good shape. Your buddy is in very good shape.
There you go.
Wow, now I feel a little smarter, and I got something to watch now. I'm excited. Thank you for that, Don.
Alex, be great. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Alex.
Be well, guys.
Peace.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm going to send him the
Rodriguez.
video. Is that too?
Look at you.
Is that too
You're
forward?
Just texting with Alex.
What do you
That's
mean?
the title of his 8th book.
Texting with Alex?
Texting with Alex.
Why would it be forward to send him the
I
video?
don't know. You don't want to.
You
He would love to see it. And even if he
really,
wouldn't, he'd tell you he would.
You really think that you're garbage, don't you, Ben? It's unfortunate.
I just.
If the way that Michael thinks, if you could just bridge the gap between how highly Michael thinks of himself and how lowly you think of yourself, you'd be just right.
See, you know what? I'm going to tell you why you're a real jackwagon, okay? Because I was about to say the same thing about you. You love yourself. I loathe myself.
Not
so
true.
I'm the guy kind of in the middle. I don't think highly of myself at all. How dare you?
You know, maybe.
What a lightweight thing to say.
No.
Wow.
You know, I forgot. I came up with it, Don. Remember, I really nailed it. Michael and I both think of ourselves just as highly. He just does this whole pretending he doesn't think of himself highly. I admit it.
He said that
I like
when you were
myself
away.
highly.
That was
That is point God.
that this is all just kind of an act by you.
Yeah, he thinks.
While I was away, he said that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You come up
Don-
with conversation a lot.
Don.
Yeah, you're a topic of
Don,
conversation.
First of all, it's like a bug on my windshield. 22 years we have. Do I make this up, or is this how I really am?
How does he know?
How does he know? He knows better than you.
I believe
it's
you
still
do.
guessing.
Listen, you are hard on yourself, and you at times loathe yourself. But I do think that you project that outwardly. Then that gives you a little bit of wiggle room to be the guy that you are. Because why would you hate
I don't
yourself as
understand what
much
you're
as you
saying.
play?
What?
Well, because if you do brag about something, you've got the fallback of, well, I loathe myself. So what are you talking
Okay,
about?
all right, so let's stop that. 30-second timeout, 20-second. When have I ever bragged about anything? What do I brag about? Maybe I'll say nice things about my kids, but about myself, when do I ever brag about anything?
Well, how about this then? What do you loathe about yourself so much?
Everything. I loathe the way I look. I have a battle with the mirror every single day, and I lose. I'm paraphrasing Pink.
You talk about how smart you are.
Oh, that's right. All the time.
Well, I mean, that's just fact.
Well, there you go.
I'm not bragging.
See, you know what? That's a pretty big one, Michael. That's a pretty big one.
Oh, you guys always talk about. I use the word imbibe. You acted like I had the Pythagorean theorem broke down.
I am willing to take the L on that.
Yeah, me too. Don, I'm willing to collectively take the Don and I just are not bright. I'm willing to admit that.
All right, Alex got back, said, love it, nice swing.
See?
See?
Now, I don't know if Marco will fully appreciate that, but I think someday he will.
Hold on. You don't know if he will. I guarantee you, he will not fully appreciate.
No, he won't. Yeah, because
Well, he has no idea who
If
Alex
it was
is.
Don, change Alex Rodriguez's number on your phone to blue, and it will mean something. Okay.
Well, no,
he doesn't
no,
appreciate.
unfortunately-
He doesn't appreciate 696 home runs.
it's not Bluey. If I changed it to Messi, Ronaldo, and there's a third edition,
Who?
Judge.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We were playing baseball outside, and he's wearing his Met jersey and his Met hat, and he says, "I'm the Yankees. They're wearing black today." Daddy, do the talking, because that's what he says play-by-play is.
He's right.
And then I've got to do
That's what my bosses tell me.
And then he's judge. So I have to do the play-by-play of him being judge.
Don, real quick, was that a homer that you sent?
No,
us?
they made it to the outfield.
How many bases did he get?
Well, it's just station to station and then coach pitch.
You know what I liked about the swing? Most kids have a swing, and they swing at the same level. And at that age, it's okay. Hopefully that's where the ball is.
No, he went up and got it.
But he went up and got it.
Although I'll tell you what, that was a problem for me, Don. I kept swinging up there as the years went on.
The thing I
Got
love,
it.
he taps home plate like I did. And do you see the bat wiggle? He's got-
Yeah, he
Can I
has
tell
a
you the
very
truth?
I don't know
mature
where he got
stance.
that.
I got to tell you, the bat wiggle, Don. I'm not even kidding you. the bat wiggle, the control of the bat wiggle. Michael, tell me if I'm wrong. It made me think he's like 9, not 6.
Yeah, I thought he first of all, he seemed taller. Why don't you send it to Greek so it could be on Yes?
Yeah, let's put this on TV.
What's wrong with
we got to
you?
see this.
You have any idea about what television's about?
Come on.
You know what? I'm going to send it to him now.
No, Greek's out today, I'm told.
Well, who do I send it to?
Oh, have Anthony Pusick tell you.
Send it to Cole. Send it to someone.
Well, it's on social media. Can't they take it right off of Twitter?
Oh, yeah, they can.
No, let them work hard, okay? Rather than just put it in their lap.
Anthony, you've got it. I sent it to the thread. Can you send it to him? Where's Greek anyway?
He took a day.
I don't know.
Let the guy have a day.
Probably betting on something. Hey, the